Now, from your local news leader, this is 6 News.
Trees are down, metal from buildings and street signs are strewn around Ionia County after a possible tornado in Portland this afternoon. And that is our top story this evening. Thank you for tuning in and watching. I'm Jane Aldrich. And if you've been watching WLNS TV 6 this afternoon, you saw David Young and our entire weather crew out there covering the storms for you. David, now what? What's coming our way?
Well, now we kind of sit and watch to see what's going to redevelop and move in later this evening. You look at the Doppler right now. It looks encouraging. I mean, you see all the showers and thunderstorms. They are now off to our east, and they continue to move away from the area. But that doesn't mean that more can't form, because as we begin to kind of heat things up again this afternoon, there will, of course, be the potential for some more storms to develop as the sunshine has been returning across much of mid-Michigan. So it certainly bears close watching. But what an afternoon it was. Places like Portland and southeastern Ionia County hit very hard. Meteorologist Jim Geyer was out chasing those storms this afternoon, watching the activity. He joins us live right now from Portland. Jim, what is the latest?
And David got here just after that tornado, and it looks like a tornado came through here. The National Weather Service is on their way to just take a survey here and see and confirm that it is. We're seeing a lot of this on the ground. Boards with nails sticking out of them. Certainly that's not something you'd want to be in. Quite a bit of damage behind me here as well. This is Grand River right at Bridge Street, and this is where the tornado crossed from northwest to southeast. You can see all that damage. Roofs damaged. You saw the video of the Goodwill store earlier. That is completely damaged. And over into the other side of the street, you can see some of the buildings just completely destroyed. The second floors are gone. One couple that was there, Krista Lamendola, talked to them. They were lucky to get out of there, and here's what they had to say.
We just lost everything. Our cars, our home. It isn't so yet. Life is going to be a little different for a little while.
Now here's a look of the roof of that couple's home, completely torn off. The back side of it, there's beams hanging out of it. And the couple told me when the winds came through, they were holding on to the door handles, trying to get to the basement and trying not to get blown away by those winds. But this house is just one example. The fire chief here in Portland says it's like this for about a mile radius in downtown Portland. If we go over here, you can see cars, their windows are just blown out. It looks like there was an explosion. And over here, the Rite Aid, the sign is completely ripped off the building. Now, the fire chief says they are going through right now. It's unsafe for anyone to be inside this area. They don't know if there's more rescues, but right now they're concerned, you know, if anybody else is still in their home. They're looking for downed wires. They're looking for gas leaks. And I mean, I'm out here right now, and you can smell the gas a little bit. You know, it was burning our nose earlier, not as bad right now, but for the most part, it's like this all the way around. And a Goodwill here had people trapped inside of it. Take a look at the back side of that Goodwill. There's a semi completely flipped into the back side of the building. See, there's some water squirting out of the side there. Not sure what that is, but again, that's one of their concerns.
Back in mid-Michigan, we take you live to Portland, where our Krista Lamendola is standing by. Krista, possible tornado there. Fortunately, no major or severe injuries. What's the latest there?
Well, Jane, earlier we showed you the Goodwill. The roof was collapsed, and officials tell us that people were inside when that happened. Now, I'm here with the chief marketing coordinator for Goodwill, Jill Wallace. Jill, what happened inside the building?
Well, there were individuals inside. However, nobody was trapped. I know that was reported earlier by the sheriff's department, but nobody was trapped. Everybody got out just fine. Everybody is okay.
Now, from your local news leader, this is 6 News.
A lot of damage in Portland this evening, where a tornado may have touched down this afternoon. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured, but don't relax just yet. More storms could be on the way in our weather. Our top story tonight at 6. Thanks for tuning in and watching. I'm Jane Aldrich. I'm in the Weather Center with our chief meteorologist, David Young. And David, there were some scary moments for people around mid-Michigan today, especially those in Portland.
It certainly was. I mean, you look right now at the satellite and radar. We're watching a couple areas. One, the storms to our east, that's what we had in the area earlier. Now we're actually watching to the west as more showers and thunderstorms begin to form.
We've had some significant damage in the Portland area thanks to a tornado that came through about 2:30 today. That extensive damage damage is being now surveyed by the National Weather Service. It has been quite a mess here in the town of Portland as crews are here now, including all the power companies taking care of some damage from some of the lines that were taken down. The gas has been shut off in this part of the city of Portland right now, and it is several blocks of damage. I did talk to one witness who said that the initial touchdown was actually just on the other side of the river along Bridge Street. More on what they are going through right now is WLNS Crystal Amendola.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. You know, we just talked to the fire chief and the sheriff for the area, and this damage is just very severe. Take a look. I mean, if you look right there, even with the strong winds, the American flag is still hanging on by a string right now, but really everything here, there's roofs just ripped off of buildings. I can't even count how many roofs I've seen missing from buildings. But again, we did just have an update with the fire chief, and he says so far, despite the damage, everyone seems to be okay.
At this time, we're very, very fortunate. We have had no fatalities reported this time, minimal injuries, cuts and bruises. We have had no one, repeat, no one transported to the hospital.
Now, they're not done with their search and rescue just yet. They're still going through neighborhoods and going through the debris. They actually brought in search and rescue dogs and cadaver dogs because they say they can easily get into the rubble easier than a person could. They also have air support coming around here, surveying the area with Michigan State Police so they get a better idea of how much damage there is. But otherwise, they say consumers has the gas shut off, or excuse me, the gas has been completely shut off. They no longer have any gas leaks.
The city of Portland was ravaged by Mother Nature this morning. Police are keeping us back, but if you see that building right there used to be the Goodwill, it's now nothing more than a pile of rubble. Some of the debris is across their parking lot. If you follow along with me, trees are snapped in half. Roofs are blown off of businesses and homes. That greenhouse right there had 2 people inside when the storm came through. We asked them if they thought it was a tornado.
I don't know. They always said if there was a tornado, you'd hear a train. We did not hear a train.
We didn't.
We didn't hear that noise. All we heard was a lot of shaking, a lot of wood cracking.
It was around 2:30 or so when we saw the most significant damage around the Portland area, and this is where that line of storms did show some signs of rotation. We take you down for the 3D perspective, and one of the things we were noticing were these little cores of higher reflectivity, more intense precipitation, maybe some hail in there. As these were coming down and out of the thunderstorms, they were producing, no doubt, some damaging winds. And also embedded within this line, the greens and the reds beside each other, kind of right over Portland. There was some rotation inside this complex. So indeed, and that's why the Weather Service is investigating that, there may have been the touchdown of a tornado. Either way, straight line winds or a tornado, it did produce significant damage.
It was a tornado. 100-mile-an-hour winds, widespread damage, but through it all, no serious injuries were reported in Ionia County. Strong storms ripped through mid-Michigan this afternoon. As you can see from that aerial view, what appears to be that signature track of a tornado that had the city of Portland right in its sights. This video shows scarring on the ground, moving in an easterly direction right toward the center of Portland. That's about 20 miles northwest of Lansing. Now you can get a clear view right now as that tornado tore through residential areas, hitting homes, churches, businesses, cars and trucks. At least 3 churches are damaged, along with multiple homes and businesses.
I heard all of a sudden it got dark, and I heard a train or a big, engine running, just like a typical tornado would be.
A 30-foot beam in our living room come flying right at me, and I just dropped to the ground and held on because I was so afraid I was just going to be sucked away.
Sue and Chuck Burns say it only took seconds for 100-mile-an-hour winds to tear their family home to pieces.
There was no sirens, there was nothing. It was just a rainstorm, and there we were.
Many people, cleanup crews, and business owners, they are busy after a tornado touchdown Monday afternoon, damaging dozens of buildings. Our team coverage continues with Justin Cree, who's standing by in Portland. Justin, you were in the city yesterday, soon after the storms hit. How are things looking today?
Yeah, Siobhan, the press conference here in Portland just wrapped up. We're joined now by City Manager Tut Gorman. And Mr. Gorman, explain to us the feel around town. Here less than 24 hours later, cleanup is still in progress. How has the city pulled together and really helped each other out?
Well, I think it's been pretty remarkable. I think yesterday, as I mentioned in the press conference, that if you saw right after the storm, the debris and obviously everything was in the road, the amount of cleanup that took place by the residents and the folks who weren't even the first responders was really quite impressive. So right now, everyone, it's a very unfortunate situation we had to go through, but it is one of those that we're at our best when we're challenged, and so I'm really impressed with these groups of people, and so we're really happy today.
A new day and new light reveals a lot more damage across areas of mid-Michigan. That's after waves of wicked storms and tornadoes tore through the state. We have team coverage of the aftermath of those storms left behind. Our Jenna Hilgenbrink and Justin Cree are standing by in Portland and Jackson County right now. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jane Aldrich. We'll go to them in just a few moments, but first, David Young, I want to talk to you about what happened yesterday. A lot happened, in fact, and I know you've got some updates today that maybe will let us know what happened.
Yeah, there were 3 areas that the National Weather Service was looking at today where tornadoes touched down. Of course, we know about one of those already. It was, of course, in Portland. We already know that is a confirmed tornado. As far as what happened there and the developments, that's now been upgraded from 100 to 110 miles per hour.
Here in Portland, people are also continuing the cleanup efforts after an EF1 tornado ripped through town yesterday. Now, I'm going to step out of the way so you can assess some of the damage for yourself. You'll hear story after story come out of Portland about what happened in the last 24 hours, but it all boils down to the community coming together to helping each other out. And for Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley, this tornado especially hits close to his heart. The day after an EF1 tornado touched down in the city of Portland, residents are trying to clean the devastation left behind. Major roads are back open and dump sites will be placed around the city for people. And while the city appreciates what neighboring communities have done, they are asking people to stay out of the city if you can.
We have team coverage for you tonight. Justin Cree is in Portland with the latest on the tornado damage. We're going to check in with him in just a few minutes.
But first, we head to Jackson County, where our Jenna Hilgenbrink has the very latest on damage in Henrietta Township. Jenna, what's it looking like there?
We're here in Henrietta Township, which is where the Jackson County Sheriff says is one of the hardest hit areas, that and Rives Township here in Jackson County. Now, these homeowners have seen anything from down power lines, down trees, even flooding on the streets.
Our Justin Cree has been in Portland all day. He shows us now what's left of a home demolished by a twister. Justin?
Yeah, Jane and Sherry, the cleanup effort continues here in Portland. There were 4 churches that were heavily damaged. This is one of the churches, the First Baptist Church, where it had 2 steeples. One of the steeples is on the ground in rubble. This steeple could fall at any minute. Walking across the street is another of those churches, the First Congregational Church. Now, they spent months raising money for their steeple. It now sits in the church. We're told the bell is in the basement. Now, these churches aren't the only structures that were a total loss. We spoke to one family who's just thankful to be alive tonight. Less than 10 minutes northwest of downtown is an old farmhouse that was ground zero for the tornado that devastated Portland Monday afternoon. Jim Klein invited us in to look over the damage. You were sitting right over here.
I was sitting here by the window.
And you were taking a nap right by the window.
Yes.
And what was going through your head? What was the first thing that you heard?
Lots of water and lots of branches.
As Jim goes through what's left of his life, he tells us his quick actions yesterday got him and his wife down to the basement and saved them from the worst.
Oh, I just felt the biggest suction I've ever felt in my life.
Now, the First Baptist Church, the First Congregational Church, Epic Community Church, and United Methodist Church, those 4 churches were heavily damaged by the storm. They will hold a joint worship service at Portland High School for at least the next 2 Sundays. So June 27th and July 5th, again, they'll hold a joint worship service, and the public is welcomed. We're live tonight in Portland. Justin Cree, 6 News.
Yeah, Sherry, the Portland woman says she thought she was going to die when her car started filling up with floodwater on a country road early this morning. But when she only had a pocket of air left, 2 deputies with the Ionia County Sheriff's Office came to her rescue.
My car's in water, and I can't get out.
And you can't get out of the vehicle?
No.
Okay, how deep is the water?
The water's up to my chest.
A small air pocket in the backseat of Mary Pline's car was the only thing keeping her alive after her car drifted into floodwaters and started to sink.
Tried kicking the door open, holding the handle and kicking, and it wouldn't go. Tried kicking the window, and the water was up to the windows, and they weren't budging, and I called 911.
But with water rising to the ceiling, Pline didn't know which would get to her first.